Okay, it's been a while since I have done a video on box seat. I have been doing some traveling and had some work obligations and some home obligations. You probably know how it is. I wanted to get back and do a couple more videos and particularly talk about some aspects of the pitcher cards, pitcher fatigue, pitcher outstanding stuff, and some other things that I enjoy about this game related to how it handles pitching. So I just finished a game between the Reds and the Astros, Jack Billingham was not the starter, but I thought he had an interesting card to demonstrate a couple of the things that are features of box seat baseball. So the first thing I want to talk about is pitcher fatigue and how a pitcher tires in box seat baseball. There's two different ways you can do pitcher fatigue. If you look at Billingham's card, the fifth line below his name, you see L1 FTG and L2 FTG, level 1 fatigue, level 2 fatigue, and you see numbers next to it. 26 for level 1 fatigue and 19 for level 2 fatigue. So there's two different ways you can do fatigue. Level 1 fatigue is very simple. It's just number of batters faced. So once Billingham has faced 26 batters, with the 27th batter, he is susceptible to fatigue. There are ways his fatigue can improve both at the start of the game and during the game. One is weather. If the temperature is favorable, he can get some extra fatigue points. The second way he can get additional fatigue points is if he has outstanding stuff. And if I don't get to that in this video, I'll talk about it in the next video. But that if he does well early in the game, he can gain additional points, which he would end up tiring later. So level 1 fatigue, which is what I use, is simply number of batters faced. Once you pass that number, the pitcher is susceptible to fatigue. Level 2 fatigue, you can see Billingham's is 19. There's a formula to calculate how he fatigues when you use level 2. And I wrote it down over here. Like I said, level 1 fatigue is based on number of batters only. Level 2 is based on what a pitcher gives up. So you take his base number of 19 and you subtract 1 from his fatigue every time he lets a base runner on, except an intentional walk. So any hit, any walk is -1. Any out is minus 0.66 or minus 2/3. And you think about it, there's 3 outs in an inning, that's -2. So if you were to pitch a clean inning, he would lose 2 points off that 19 of fatigue. And then double plays actually only half that. So basically, if you get a double play, you're getting 2 outs without facing 2 batters. So there's only, a half of that, a 0.33 deduction if you get a double play. So he actually gets the benefit of that if he were to get the double play ball. So if you think about an inning, if he gives up 1 hit and gets the rest of the side out, that would be 3 points of fatigue off. 1 for the hit and 2 for the 3 outs. Any runners out on the bases, he gains a point. So that helps him as well. Because again, he's not having to throw pitches and he's getting outs. So that's a straight +1 that he would gain on his fatigue if he had a runner caught stealing, for instance, or a runner picked off. And then there's also options for increasing his fatigue if he pitches effectively. One of them is if he goes 7+ innings with less than 1 earned run, 1 earned run or less, then he would get 3 points of fatigue back, which would benefit him. So level 2 requires a little bit of math. You don't need to really do it after every inning. You just have to kind of keep an eye on things until you get late enough in the game that you need to calculate this. And it's a unique way to do fatigue. My preference is level 1. It's just very straightforward, and I think it's pretty accurate, just going by the number of batters. So when the pitcher reaches the fatigue stage, what happens? There's a chart that shows a fatigued pitcher. and you have your level 1 and level 2 fatigue. And when his fatigue starts to go into the negative, so Billingham level 1 fatigue is 26. So after the 26th batter, he is at 0 fatigue. So you're going to look at level 1 on the left side there. And if his fatigue is between 0 and -2, then when you roll the dice, you roll the dice combination, you're going to look at the red die. And if he would normally block a hit or a walk, if that red die is a 0, he doesn't block it. And that's the penalty that he would pay for being fatigued. And you can see it graduates. So if his level 1 fatigue is between -2 and -4, then if the white die is between 0 and 2, 0, 1, or 2, then he doesn't block the hit or the walk. And then as it goes up, if it gets to -6 or above -6, then he never blocks anything. So at that point, you're of course going to want to get him out of the game if you haven't already. Odds are you're going to want to remove him sooner than that. So that is the way box seat handles fatigue and the penalty that a pitcher faces with fatigue. There's another way that a pitcher can be fatigued, and that would be if he gets shelled in an inning. There's another page you get when you get the game. You can see under the hood optional rules here. I'm going to talk about adjustments and outstanding stuff probably in the next video. But you can see below it, pitcher bad inning. So anytime that the pitcher allows a combined total of 5 hits and walks in any one inning, he is temporarily fatigued. His fatigue drops to 0. So you're going to come down here and you're going to use this chart for the rest of the inning until he gets out of the inning, if he stays in the game. And if he does stay in the game, then you fatigue the inning normally. So if he were to give up, let's say again, for simplicity, we're using level 1 fatigue with Billingham. He's got 26. And say that the first 5 batters of the game all get hits. So he's now at 21. He's got more juice left, but he's getting hit hard. And if he's going to get out of the inning, he's going to have to navigate through this chart and deal with that until the inning's over. Let's say he does that. Let's say he gets 3 outs after the first 5 batters reach. He's no longer using this chart when he starts the second inning, and you're only going back to his level 1 fatigue where it stands. So if he gave up hits to the first 5 guys, and then he got the next 3 batters out, he faced 8 batters, his fatigue is down to 18 from 26. So it's a way to handle a situation where a pitcher is pitching under stress because he's given up a number of hits and there's runners on the bases without penalizing him for the rest of the game. It's common in baseball where a pitcher has a bad inning. He comes out of it. He, finds his stuff. Maybe the pitching coach talks to him in the dugout and says, you're tipping your change up. And he goes out in the next inning and he does fine. So it's a way to, show that temporary effect without making a permanent effect. So that's another feature of fatigue in this game. So you have your level 1 fatigue, which is based on batters faced. You have your level 2 fatigue, which is based on what a pitcher gives up. And then you have this temporary fatigue, which is based on what he gives up in a particular inning where he would get shelled. So those are the ways that the game handles pitcher fatigue. And I'll stop this video here, and then I'm going to come back and talk about outstanding stuff in the next video. Also note that pitchers have early and late ratings in box seat baseball. The late rating in particular, which is his rating in the 7th inning on, is independent of his pitcher fatigue. So Billingham has a very good late rating of A. I'll talk about that a little bit in the next video, what that means. He's very poor in the first inning. He's very good in the late innings if he gets that far. But his fatigue is still 26, one way or the other. So if he gets into the late innings, he's going to get some benefits from having that A late rating, but those are going to be offset by anything that comes up with level 1 fatigue if he faces more than 26 batters. So those are independent of each other. Don't confuse them. They do. These two things can work together or work cross currently in the game. So don't confuse those. I'll talk a little bit more about outstanding stuff because that also is where A and B ratings can come into play as the pitcher pitches in the game. And when I do that, I'll talk a little bit about these early and late ratings as well. So that's the next video. Thanks for watching.